It's all a part of the process. Have faith in it.
My coach always talks about, working past your trauma. Like everything can be attributed to some type of trauma. We're grabbing vices and addictions are he says that it's not necessarily a disease, it's a discipline problem. It's like we're trying to vice the feeling that we have, right? And I have to believe that if I maintain the program that he's put me on, have faith in the program that he's put me on, I can get to a place where I can identify more rapidly when dis-ease is trying to control any situation, right? So when I'm feeling anxious and I want to eat food to calm that down, if I stay on the program, I'll identify that faster. I'll be able to recognize what's happening, and I can get past it without grabbing a vice, which for me is food, laziness, sleeping, pornography, spending money, being angry, lashing out. These things are all vices. And if I stay on the program, then I can get through any moment of my life that someone else brings to me, something else brings to me, something that I can't control. I can control what's going on inside of me and be able to get past that in a healthy manner that's not going to set me back from the vision that I have for myself as a man, as a father, as a friend, because that's ultimately what ends up happening when I try to do this stuff on my own, and I continue to try to do this on my own, and it's not working, right? Like if I'm doing stuff that's not working, and I continue to do stuff that's not working, and try to convince myself that eventually this thing that I'm doing that's not working, it's like trying to heal a wound by stabbing it again.
Sure.
I know that it's going to work. And if I get somebody that says, hey, maybe you should stop fucking stabbing that wound, and I trust that what they're saying is true and the wound heals, that gives me evidence that I can trust them, all that stuff. But I forget what I was going to say. Like I'm coming around to, like, I have to get to a point where I can heal the trauma without vices, right? I have to find a program. I have to find someone who can teach me how to do that stuff, because I didn't figure any of this out on my own, right? Like, I don't know that I would have ever walked if I didn't see other people walking. I don't know that I would have ever talked if I didn't hear other people talking. Like, my entire life, I don't know that I would have trauma if I didn't have other people giving me trauma, And so everything that I am and everything that I have is a direct result of some response to something that's happened in my life. And I do believe that it's going to turn out okay, because it always has, And faith, trust, faith, trust, faith.
Yeah, they're definitely very, very closely related, and I think, back to what you were saying, is I feel like that's the goal for everybody, right? Is like, I want to be able to just deal with shit in a healthy manner. Like,
period. Done.
Yeah, like that's the goal. Like,
yeah.
I want to have inner peace. Like, if you had to ask me, like, Cameron, what do you want most in life? I would say inner peace. A. B, I want to be able to deal with shit in a healthy manner, right? Like, and you like to think if I had A, I wouldn't need B.
Sure.
But, like, I mean, ultimately, like, that's the goal. Like, because we do have these things that come up in our lives that spark some sort of trauma that we might have for whatever reason. In your case, religious trauma. In my case, it might be, little brother syndrome or whatever the case is. But both are valid points, right? And we don't get to decide our trauma, but our trauma is actually real. It is valid,
right?
No matter what it is, like big or little, right? And those traumas might lead us to have certain survival patterns that have worked for us in the past. We might look for that cookie for some sort of comfort in this situation because it's uncomfortable or whatever the case is. But ultimately, what we want to be able to do is to not look for that cookie, and to just deal with these emotions, And so, like, you going through this process with this individual or a coach or whatever the case is, like, it's good that we are at least at this point in our lives, like, despite our trauma, that we do understand that if we are met with these specific individuals who have maybe a little bit more experience, or for whatever reason we've gravitated to them, we trust in them enough to have faith in their process, that we will hopefully get the result that we're after.
Right.
And so, I mean, if there's one thing we should have faith in, it's that our trauma cannot hold us back from trusting others, right? That's maybe the one thing that we should not allow our trauma to do. If we can trust these other people and put our faith in what it is they're showing us, then maybe we can actually deal with shit without that negative
Without
behavior.
destroying ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's all I'm looking for, dude. Like, this last little bit, like, with food has been so... It's been so interesting. And it's like you said, like, at some point, you have to get to a point where it's like you really analyze what it is you're doing, and you can't keep doing the same thing expecting a different result, right?
Right.
And so it's like, in my case, it's like, first of all, like, what I'm doing is probably not nearly enough. And second of all, like, at some point, I've got to decide to change my approach.
Sure.
Right? Like, okay, Cameron, you've shown that you can't do this on your own. It's time to change your approach. And sometimes that can be a hard pill to swallow.
Oh, big time.
It's like, I don't want to admit that I don't know enough about this subject to do it by myself. And it's like, well, you might, in my case, it's like, I might know everything I need to know, but I need to let go of all that shit because it's not doing anything for me. Like, knowing everything in the world about nutrition, about exercise, about all that stuff doesn't seem to be making a difference right now. Because I sabotage despite knowing all that information. Which just makes it sting even more.
Yeah.
Like, I know exactly how bad it all is for me. And it just stings a little bit more. So it's like, okay, I from this moment forward, I relinquish control. I have faith in this individual. I will do what you tell me.
Yeah.
And it's just, it really does just harken back to like those early days in recovery. It's like, same thing. Like, for you, it sounds like it was similar for you than it was for me, right? Like, I went through treatment. I went through once. At this point, I've decided I have a problem. I'm in treatment, for God's sake.
Yeah.
I get out of treatment and I go back out. And at that point, I know exactly how harmful all this stuff is for me. It's no longer fun. It, like, every ounce of fun that there ever was with it has now been removed, right? They say it in meetings all the time. Like, you can't have a belly full of liquor and a head full of AA.
Yeah.
You're just not going to have fun that way, right? So it's like it used to be the same thing. Like, it was just that much more miserable, that much, like, just more self-sabotagey. Is that a word? Like, can I say that?
Yeah, you can say it. We know what you mean.
All right. I mean, it was just that much more destructive, right?
Uh-huh.
And yeah, like, so I had to come to that situation with that much more surrender and that much more humility.
Yeah.
And be like, okay, I may think I know, but I obviously don't know. I relinquish control. I find some trustworthy individuals and say, please tell me what to do. And it's not forever. It's just for now, for today, right?
For today, yeah.
I let go for today.